Some divisions buy Ferraris. The NL Central, they usually just tune up the bullpen a little bit and change the oil. Let's pop the hood on a division that suddenly looks very winnable for your Pittsburgh Pirates.
You are Locked On Pirates, your daily Pittsburgh Pirates podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to your first listen every day, Locked On Pirates. I'm Gary Morgan, former editor over at SteelCityPirates.com, covering this team since 2019. And yes, I am old enough to remember my team winning a division. Thank you, everydayers, for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. Today on the show, we're going to talk about what each NL Central team needed coming into this offseason. Segment 2, we're going to talk about what they've added so far. That includes our guys, Lau, O'Hearn, Soto. And in segment 3, we're going to talk about what each club lost, traded, or let walk. Then I'm going to frame it all back together into what it means for the Bucks as we complete spring train or off season here and get towards spring training. Before we do, today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. If you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel and place your NFL live bets all season long. Guys, I got to tell you, live bets is the only way I'd touch some of these Christmas tilts this year. I'm just saying. So let's see what each NL Central team needed. The Cubs, they needed late inning certainty, rotation stability. Chicago's checklist started with reinforcing high leverage relief and keeping rotation options open behind Shota Imanaga returning on a qualifying offer. I'm simplifying these on purpose because there's a lot of material to get through, and I'm not doing Locked On all these teams. We've got great guys running those channels. I'm just kind of trying to bring you inside what I've been seeing them talk about. Cardinals, a real rebuild here. Salary flexibility, young pitching depth. They have a new president here, Shane Blum, and St. Louis prioritized moving veteran money and restocking controllable arms and position depth after 2025 slide. They still have work to do as far as continuing to deconstruct that team a little bit yet. Although I hear them trying to sell it to their fans as a little bit more of a retool. So I'm not sure how deep they really want to cut here. We'll see. The Brewers, they convert outfield surplus into a controllable lefty, continue the pitching lab magic stuff that they like to do. Milwaukee aimed to trade from outfield depth for a ground ball left-hander, plus low-key upside bats to round out their roster. I haven't seen a lot of that yet, but one big deal they swung definitely did bring back the lefty. We'll see how smart that was once they get going. The Reds locked down the ninth. That's, bringing back Pagan. Adding a lefty, shop for the middle of the order bat, Cincy's to-do list, keep Emilio Pagan, add a left-handed reliever, and hunt for a bat after missing on Schwarber. They're not hunting all that hard, though, it appears. And the Pirates, hey, they wanted to bring in left-handed thunder and lineup certainty. The Pirates needed left-handed impact in the middle of the order, dependable run production to leverage a deep young staff. And bluntly, I think that's what they've done. The Pirates aren't done yet. They have not completed their mission as far as everything they wanted to get done. But this is just a good look at basically what everybody was trying to get accomplished as we entered this offseason. I haven't heard a lot from them, really. The Brewers pulled off that kind of weird trade where they sent out, I think, what a lot of us thought was a really good player in Isaac Collins, in part for this left-handed pitcher, and I'm sure he's going to be fine, and Milwaukee is good at this. Who am I to question how Milwaukee builds a team, right? I mean, they've really, really done a great job of putting things together and pulling the right switches and everything. But so far, you have to kind of say it's been quiet. They're usually involved in some kind of a bigger swing, and in fact, I'm not even 100% sure that it's settled science that they're keeping, Peralta. It would seem like that would be the best path for them to take as far as going for another division victory, or a wild card. They still have a good baseball team that went a good long way last year. They're still going to be near the top of this division. But I think they kind of suffer from the same things they suffered from last year. They're a very good regular season team. But when you get into the playoffs, I just think it takes a little more special than they tend to have on their roster. Now, I'm not sitting here from a Pirates perch, again, preaching to a team that has completely killed the Pirates in every way. Well, ever since I've been covering this team, I'm simply observing from afar what they wanted versus what I've actually seen them do. The Cardinals, this rebuild, it's kind of slow and a little clunky. A couple deals here. They've moved out Sonny Gray. They've traded Wilson Contreras now. I mean, we've watched Wilson Contreras for quite some time. I didn't think they'd actually be able to get rid of his contract, let alone have a fan base think they actually got something good. And maybe that's just me being bitter. He's one of my very least favorite players in the league. So perhaps I'm not seeing clearly on him, but all they've really done is moved things out and brought back some younger, questionable pitching. A lot of the pitching they brought back, oddly enough, has a very distinct problem, and it's the same problem. They all have fastballs that don't move. They all have fastballs that get lit up like a downtown Christmas tree. And, I love that for the Cardinals. I'm not going to lie to you. I love that for them. I really do. The Cubs, hey, late inning certainty. Yeah, I do believe they have bolstered their bullpen a little bit. I still feel like they could use some more pieces. And I also don't feel like maybe their summary is fair because I'm intentionally, in doing the summaries and the wants and needs, I'm not talking about the major losses. And I don't believe that any team really in the entire division lost anything more painful than Kyle Tucker will be for the Cubs. That's a big loss for the Cubs. And frankly, I'm not sure I understand necessarily how they're going about replacing it. If they're going about replacing it, that's still going to be a formidable team. They have an interesting pitching staff. They have a crop of good young players coming along and more behind them even yet. So, I mean, they could be good, stay good, get better. But I'm not seeing a whole lot of bolstering going on right now. And the Cubs, they're such a weird team. They're one of the weirder teams in the league in that they definitively have money. And they also definitively don't always want to spend it. So we'll see what they do. I hate to criticize them too much because they'll go out and get Bregman or, something and just really improve their team in a big way and make their lineup a lot more threatening than it is. But as of right now, I think the team that has come the closest to fulfilling their plan is the Pittsburgh Pirates. I really do. And damn, that feels good to say. When we come back, we're going to start talking about what these teams added. That's important. We got to get into that side of things. NFL Sundays move fast. One big play and suddenly everything feels different. That's what makes live betting with FanDuel so exciting. You're not just watching the game, you're reacting to it in real time. With FanDuel, you can place bets as the action unfolds. Every drive, Every momentum swing, every highlight moment. Live betting is best when the game starts to shift, a receiver gets hot, defense tightens up, or the momentum flips after a turnover. FanDuel lets you jump into the moment. Live spreads and money lines adjust instantly. Player props update as guys heat up. You can bet next touchdown scores, drive results, totals, and more. It keeps you locked in every snap, every drive, every possibility. So if you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. FanDuel, the game moves fast. So can you. Hey, everybody, welcome back to Locked On Pirates. It's time to get into what these NL Central teams have added. That's important to always cover and make sure you understand. So they have managed to hold on to. I shouldn't call this an ad. I'll call this a hold on to. Shota Imanaga accepted the qualifying offer for 2026. He's really their rotation anchor. I mean, there are some question marks about his effectiveness and can he really be an ace on a team that's going someplace. I have my reservations about that, but I don't want the Cubs to get good, so I'll take those reservations and hope they do consider him to be an ace. Bill Maton, there's really no questioning this one. This is a great move for them. 2 years, $14.5 million. That's a great signing. Phil Maton was a good pickup, and he will help their bullpen quite a bit. Hobie Milner, 1 year. Caleb Thielbar, 1 year, $4.5 million. Mutual option. Bullpen fortified with veteran swing and miss and lefty leverage. Colin Ray they bring in for 1 year for 2027 with a 2027 option for rotation depth. I wouldn't be too excited about that if I'm a Cubbies fan, but it's still an addition. And then they picked up some Roll 5 guys, which, I'm not really sure why. The Cardinals added, oh boy, that trade return for Wilson Contreras, really Hunter Dobbins, a couple prospects for Hardo, Blake Aida, youthful pitching depth. It kind of fits the reset mold. This is the kind of return you'll want. Hunter Dobbins is a for now swing that has for sure problems. Again, the fastball movement is an issue. He does get tagged with the fastball. Talented pitcher. He's got really good secondary stuff. Interesting, and I think if the Red Sox were not necessarily in go for it now mode, they're probably trying a little bit harder with Hunter Dobbins. Not all that long ago, they were pretty excited about him as a prospect. So, this isn't a terrible swing here for the Cardinals. The Brewers, Angel Zerpa, left-handed pitcher that was acquired for Nick Mears and Isaac Collins, our old friend Nick Mears, by the way. 96.6 mile per hour sinker, elite ground ball profile, tailor-made for Milwaukee's defense. I mean, Akil Baddoo they bring in for the outfield on a major league deal to broaden the outfield options. I mean, I guess Akil Baddoo is an older, less talented version of Isaac Collins, I would say. You know what I mean? And whatever. Again, how am I to question the Brewers? But I don't think they've done all that much. These aren't notable names. Nobody in Milwaukee land can feel all that positive. The Reds, I'm going to credit them with an ad for Emilio Pagan because if I was if it happened to the Pirates, I would want credit for it. It was questionable as to whether they would be able to retain him. In fact, I wanted the Pirates to go after him. But Emilio Pagan stays there 2 years, $20 million, opt out after 2026. That's what you got to do with these guys nowadays. Returns as the closer. That's good stuff for the Reds. They also bring in old friend Caleb Ferguson, who I was interested in the Pirates going after. That's a good lefty, but nothing else for a team that snuck into the wild card last year. That's not promising if you're in the Reds camp. I would think you'd want a little bit more. If I'm them, I'm probably starting to feel like the Pirates have passed us by a good country mile. The Pirates, obviously they've pulled off this big trade for Brandon Lau, Jake Mangum, Mason Montgomery, all three of which could contribute this year. Ryan O'Hearn just signed. We all talked about that last night in our special emergency episode. Check that out if you haven't already. Gregory Soto, left-handed pitcher, big money contract for him, 7.75. That was a big swing. And, it's easy to forget the Jose Nixon Garcia deal with, Johan Oviedo going out the other direction. That, I think in years past, that probably would have been our swing at offensive help. And now he could very well wind up being offensive reinforcements this year. That's the lay of the land as far as the additions go. And I got to tell you guys, in category number 2, I'm giving it to the Pirates again. Now, here's the thing. When we talk about additions, it's relative, isn't it? Because, for instance, the Reds don't need as much as the Pirates did. The Brewers don't need as much as the Pirates did. The Cubs don't need as much as the Pirates did. So it only stands to reason that the Pirates should be outclassing the rest of the division when it comes to the addition category. They had the most ground to make up. Except for the one team that is actively trying to go in the other direction. And now I don't mean they're trying to lose. They're just, come on. You're a Pittsburgh fan. You've been there. You know what they're trying to do. You know exactly what they're trying to do. Now, they have a history of having done it more competently than we. But still, I digress. They're the only team in the division that we shouldn't expect to be in this addition category. But these other teams, frankly, even if they get on their horse and get going, they should not catch the Pirates in this category. This is the first time the Pirates have kind of appropriately answered the bell here as far as additions go. I think in some ways, the Pirates additions are great enough that they could propel the Pirates past some of the teams that have been more sluggish to get started. I think that for sure is possible. But I mean, right now it would be really difficult for me to see some of these teams, like the Brewers in particular. Despite what their plans are, they don't have a lot of money to go out there and spend. I mean, the only money that's coming off the books for them was Rhys Hoskins. It's the only big money coming off the books for them. So it's not like they can just go out and willy-nilly spend. And they got Contreras, William Contreras, they have to think about. I don't know if they're going to re-sign him. They still got Yelich. I'm not sure what's going to happen with Milwaukee. I don't know how they can allocate their dollars or where they should or where they will. I just don't. They're a smart team, though. So almost like having the Rays in your division, when you sit there and look on paper, I bet everybody in the AL East is like, it's funny. Actually, Jake Mangum and I were talking about this the other day when we were discussing the Rays, and I was talking to him about what I saw on paper, and I was like, on paper, it looks like the Rays should finish like a distant 5th in that division. Like the AL East looks insane. It really does. It looks crazy. But I mean, I said to him, you can't expect the Rays to finish 5th. They just don't. For some reason, somehow they always wind up finding a way to put it all together. They're smart. They know what they're doing. They know how to complement lesser pieces with other pieces and turn them into something that works together for the greater good. They're just brilliant at that sort of thing. And Milwaukee is in that class. So I would never sit here and tell you Milwaukee's taken a step back unless I saw something really catastrophic coming. Like 3-4 starting pitchers all timing up at the same time and and they don't look like they have a bunch of replacements. The Brewers are smart, and like it. Yeah, it doesn't even necessarily have to come the way you think it would. The Pirates, again, though, they've done the most for sure. The Reds surprised me a little bit, if only because the Reds kind of got where the Pirates wanted to get without spending. They got to the wild card without having a jacked payroll. And the reward for getting to the wild card without having a jacked payroll is that now you get to invest a little bit on top of that and really, really go ham after it. So to hear the Reds ownership come out after missing on Schwarber and just be like, yeah, we're not going to try something else like that. I'm at a loss for words, because to me, now's the time to go for the Reds. We got Paul Skeens. They've got players that are going to go too. They're not going to be able to hold on to Ellie. How long can you get all those pitchers to time up healthy together, like Lodolo and Green and Ashcraft? And I mean, like they've got the nice makings of everything. It seemed to me like their time, much like the Pirates, was to push in the chips right now. I'm not sure I understand what their ownership was seeing that the Pirates wasn't. Why did the Pirates decide now was the time and the Reds kind of pulled back the throttle a little bit, right? When you think they'd be really pushing in the chips. I don't know. But let's come back and talk about what all these teams lost. What walked away? What did they trade? What did they move on from? What did they just let fritter away? Hey, welcome back, everybody. Let's take this in the same exact order that we've been doing it. Let's hammer it. I love the way this is coming together. Outbound. The Cubs lose Andrew Kittredge to Baltimore for cash. Nico Zeglin. Nobody knows who these guys are, really. Neither of those are all that influential. Houston, they moved Brad Keller. Drew Pomerantz left for free agency. Nothing major. Holding on to Imanaga there. And Kyle Tucker, obviously, gigantic loss if he manages to sign someplace else. And boy, every indication seems to be that he will. In fact, I don't even hear the Cubs rumored as trying for him. I thought sure that I would hear them as like kind of like the primary offer, but maybe he just kind of made it very clear. I just have no interest in being here, and they're just kind of letting it go. But if that's the case, man, why wouldn't they be going after someone else like Bellinger again? Have a reunion with him, and maybe they will. Maybe I shouldn't give them ideas, huh? Let's just shut up while I'm ahead. How about the Cardinals? Outbound, obviously already. Wilson Contreras, Ryan Helsley, Phil Maton, those are all really good contributors for them. They got some nice returns for the Cardinals. Miles Michaelis is out now. I think they still want to try to get rid of Nolan Arenado. They're looking to get rid of Newt Bar potentially. Donovan, I've heard. I mean, Gorman. I don't think you can possibly get rid of all those guys. And I think that if they did, they'd have to change their tune with their fans and quit calling it a retool. Because that would just be a deconstruction project altogether. And I haven't seen the Cardinals truly do that since the 1980s. Like that's been a long time. The Brewers, obviously the Nick Mears and Isaac Collins, we already mentioned going out the door. A couple Rule 5 losses, but it's just churn at the AAA level. Nothing major. We don't know what they're doing with Peralta, so I can't put any major losses on them. Rhys Hoskins you can consider, but I don't know if I count Rhys Hoskins as that big of a loss for them. He was barely playing down the stretch there. I think they found him defensively just a bad idea. And offensively, he had a few moments, just not enough that I think anybody in Milwaukee is really going to shed a lot of tears. The Reds, starters and relievers kind of cycled out. Zach Little, Nick Martinez, Wade Miley, Brent Suter, Roddery Munoz selected by Houston, the Rule 5, prompting a little bit of a bullpen refresh. The Pirates, we obviously lose Mike Burrows, Johan Oviedo, DFA'd a couple players. Chang Luciano is a guy that we just picked up as DFA, so no big deal. Honestly, not all that many traumatic losses aside from Tucker. I think that's probably the biggest loss of the bunch for anybody. That wasn't a trade, obviously. Like we talk again about the Cardinals are purposefully doing it. Well, the Pirates lost some pieces that I think might be a little painful for them too. Burrows and Oviedo are both losses, and you have to consider them losses, even if you're getting what you want back in return. What this means really, the profile changed here. Brandon Lau gives left side power at second base, 31 home runs, all-star in 2025. Ryan O'Hearn adds on base, left-handed pop with corner flexibility. Together, they address the exact offense gaps the club identified. Soto plus Montgomery adds left-handed bite to the late innings. Hopefully Montgomery can get to that point, at least as the season plays out. Something the Pen has lacked post-deadline. Garcia offers an athletic power bat that can grow into everyday work. I really love a lot of the additions they've made here. Relative to the division, the Cubs and Reds, I think, tightened the back end of their bullpens and did little else. The Brewers made a classic lab fit trade. The Cards are in full churn. And for Pittsburgh, the bet is simple. Turn that elite young pitching into actual wins by backing it with real hitting. And I think they've done it. The NL Central didn't buy a new house. It rearranged its furniture mostly. The division is winnable. And the Pirates aren't done adding. They're adding pressure to the cauldron, too. That's largely been cold for the rest of this division. Listen, tomorrow is Christmas. I'm going to take the day off to celebrate with my family. One gift you've given me, though, I just want to mention, we just passed 3,000 subscribers on YouTube yesterday. When I took over, we had a little over 1,000. And I think I haven't even been here a full year yet. The numbers are great. I can't thank you enough, but the thing I love most, for the most part, man, what a respectful and inquisitive and inventive group you are. I know what I do, the way I do it, isn't for everyone. So I thank you for showing me that we can grow the show and I can still be the me I want to be and cover this team as honestly as I can. Merry Christmas. For once, Ben actually didn't leave us coal under the tree. We're serious about Pirates baseball because somebody has to be. Let's go Bucks, and ho, ho, ho.